We normally think of grief and loss as it associates with like losing a loved one or losing a pet or a big move or a breakup. COVID is just one of the things that has become a profound change in all of our lives, where we've really experienced a collective experience of such grand change. And with change comes grieving. People have varying reactions to it. There's people that get really angry. And, when we feel something is out of our control, not just COVID, but with the death of a family member or a breakup, we get angry because we want to try to have some sense of control over the situation. You place blame on other people. Blaming somebody else for what's happening isn't going to solve the problem. Next stage would be denial. We do that because we're not yet ready to admit that something is happening that's really scary and dangerous. It's the same thing with death. When we see a loved one pass away, we try to think, no, they're still there. They're still there. And then the next stage is typically followed by that bargaining. With bargaining, it's like we're kind of coming to the realization that something's happening. It's not to the level of denial, but yet we're still trying to assert some level of control of the situation. You look at the bar and you're thinking like, oh, I could probably go in there. Or you look at a restaurant and see like, well, they're kind of spaced out, but they're not spaced out to your comfort level. Acknowledging the existence is really where you start with bargaining. And then after that would be depression stage, where you've accepted that it's here. Similar to the other stages, there's a sense of feelings that something's out of your control. It's feeling hopeless, it's feeling depressed, it's feeling scared. With COVID, it's, am I gonna be able to work again? Am I gonna be able to go to my favorite restaurant again? Is my business gonna close down? And then we come to acceptance, where you acknowledge the situation. You're saying, you know what, this is a part of our existence. It doesn't have to define who I am. Even though there's COVID, I can still do things to make this experience more bearable. It's the same thing, when somebody passes away. We don't necessarily get over things. We kind of accept the fact that they've maybe taken on a new form. But keep in mind, these stages are fluid. Just because you might cycle through all the stages doesn't mean you can't go back to anger or depression or bargaining. And the reason why we do that is because oftentimes, even when we are coming to a point of acceptance, we get burned out. It's okay to feel that. It's a normal part of the process. That's where the self-care really needs to come in. It's normal to feel bad when you don't do something, when you don't feel like you're doing anything with your life. We've all had that experience. It's normal to have that. Self-care is really just about creating space for yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't be expected to take care of your friends, your family, and other people that might need your help. It's finding a balance between work and home life. If you're finding yourself burning out, it's to communicate, hey, I just need a couple of minutes to do something for me. It can just be 10 to 15 minutes just to check in with yourself. But other ways of self-care too is you can involve other people with it. If you're going for a walk, great idea is to bring your family along for it. It's something that you can all do together, but it's also allowing you that opportunity to get some exercise. I think for me, the way that I've found balance is to try to think about, okay, I'm still lucky enough right now that I'm still able to be connected with my family. If we find ourselves being more grateful, and this is true for depression or anxiety, anger, whatever, if we can kind of balance ourselves with finding what we are grateful for, what we do have, makes things just a little bit easier. I think a lot of people are coming to grips with the reality that our holidays are just gonna be a lot different. What am I willing to sacrifice in order for things to get better? It's, maybe it means that I have to adapt my Christmas this year. Seeing that as just something that I have to do in order for the better, the well-being of everyone else. The best thing, with grief is to let people know that you're there for them, provide the support that they need and whatever they need, and give them the space if they need it. If we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get through this together, and we can't alienate each other. This is something that we need to address collectively and not individually. When we learn to accept what's going on and it's bigger than us, we actually are able to, we might be able to come together a lot more readily.